You know how in Gumball the characters will sometimes look right at the camera and talk to us? They know they're in a show. We all laugh when they do it. But what if they aren't the only ones who know? What if there's another character, one who never speaks, who has also realized he's being watched? Instead of talking to us, he just watches back. A pale, silent clown hidden in the background of over a dozen episodes. Today we're uncovering how this one silent figure turns a colorful comedy into something deeply unsettling. Because once you notice him, he notices you back. The first time this nightmare fuel appears is in The Procrastinators, Season 3, Episode 18. Gumball and Darwin are supposed to be doing chores, but of course, they'll do literally anything else. Nicole's yelling from downstairs, time slipping away, and the boys are spiraling into peak procrastination mode, turning into raisins in the sun, having random competitions, doing everything but what they're supposed to do. Then comes the drawing scene. Darwin sketches a portrait of Gumball. Except, behind him, through the window, there's something else. A pale, wrinkled clown, standing still, watching. It's subtle, easy to miss, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And you have to ask why. Why a clown? Why there? This part doesn't fit the plot. It's never acknowledged. It simply sits there, unexplained. That's not procrastination, that's an omen. From this point on, the clown starts showing up more. Sometimes he's in the background of crowded scenes. Sometimes he's a passing blur, never speaking, never interacting, just there. It's almost as if he's part of the show's DNA now, a silent virus hidden in plain sight. And that's the moment you realize this is no harmless background gag. Something's off in Elmore, and this clown, he's the first crack in that bright, colorful surface. Then comes The Ghouls, Season 5, Episode 30, where everything gets weirder. Here we finally learn that this clown is far more than a random background filler. He's actually a ghoul. A failed one apparently. Someone so bad at being scary that even kindergartners aren't impressed. It sounds funny, right? But it's not. It's worse. Because that reveal means he's real inside Gumball's world. Not any poster or joke, but a creature that actually exists in Elmore. His design alone is disturbing. Wrinkled white skin, empty eyes, that tiny red nose that somehow makes him more unsettling. The show plays it off lightly, but the undertone is pure nightmare fuel. And then in The Curse of Elmore, things take a darker turn. Tobias shows up wearing a clown mask that looks exactly like him. The same hollow eyes. The same cracked smile. And no one says a word about it. Not Gumball or Darwin, not anyone. It's like they don't even notice. Like the clown's presence has blended into their world, invisible but constant. That's when things start to feel wrong. The clown is no longer simply appearing, he's being worn. His identity is spreading, seeping into other characters. Reality itself feels unstable, and nobody seems to notice except us, the audience. At this point, it's not about who he is, it's about what's happening to the show. And that's when the background starts to feel more like a nightmare bleeding through the frame. Once you start looking, you realize he's everywhere. The clown appears in at least 13 episodes, maybe more. Sometimes he's standing right there in plain sight, other times he's tucked away behind a crowd, peering from a window, or frozen at the edge of a scene. But the clown never changes. While everyone else in Elmore bounces around in chaos, yelling, morphing, breaking the laws of physics, he stands completely still. In The Joy, when everyone is losing their minds with laughter, he's just motionless. In The Deal, as things get weird and surreal, he's there again. In The Choices, another glimpse. Over and over, the same haunting figure. It's like he's immune to the show's logic, untouched by its randomness. And that stillness, his refusal to move, makes him stand out more than any explosion or joke ever could. The more you notice him, the worse it gets. Because after a while, it doesn't feel like he's watching the characters anymore. It feels like he's watching you. That's the real horror of it. Not jump scares or violence, but the quiet, patient, endless watching. The unsettling feeling that he might be aware of you noticing him. And once your eyes meet his, there's no turning back. So let's talk about why this clown is genuinely terrifying. And no, it's not only because he's a clown, though that alone is nightmare fuel for me. It goes deeper than that. It's psychological. The horror comes from his design and his behavior. His face is wrong in every way that matters. The skin looks like it's been stretched too long, too tight, like it's decaying in real time. Those black slit-like eyes, empty, soulless, reflective of nothing. It's like staring into two tiny voids. And that nose, that tiny red nose that should be funny, that should lighten the design, somehow it makes him even worse. It's almost mocking, like the show's saying, "Come on, it's just a clown," while your brain whispers, "No, something's off." Then there's his voice, voiced by Mick Graves, the same guy who voices Banana Joe, but here it's flat, monotone, unbothered. It's not the voice of a happy performer, it's the voice of something that doesn't belong in a children's show. And that's what makes him so unsettling. In a world built on chaos and motion, he remains perfectly still. That stillness becomes the horror. He's a break in the pattern, a glitch in the energy of Elmore, reminding you that something even in this colorful world feels wrong. Now that we've seen where he appears and why he's terrifying, the question becomes who, or what, is he? The scary part? No one knows. The show never names him. There's no episode dedicated to him, no explanation, no wink at the audience. He appears, vanishes, and reappears again. Even for a show as meta and chaotic as Gumball, that's weird. Because usually every side character has a purpose, but this guy, only empty, silent cameos. So what could he be? Some fans think he's a glitch in Gumball's reality, a side effect of the show's obsession with breaking the fourth wall. This is a world where characters literally argue with animators, destroy their own files, and acknowledge they're fictional. Maybe, when that wall cracked, something slipped through. Something that wasn't meant to exist. Others see him as a meta-horror presence, appearing whenever reality weakens, when time collapses in the Procrastinators, when chaos spreads in the Joy, when logic unravels in the Deal. He's drawn to disorder, feeding on it like a shadow creeping into broken light. Then there's a darker, disturbingly human theory. This theory says Nicole hired him as a cheap babysitter back in the day, but this sadistic psycho snapped when she stiffed him on wages, turning into a vengeful stalker haunting her boys forever. Evidence? His debut in The Procrastinators delivering Nicole's telegram, a direct link. In The Saint, he twists Alan's balloon family into grotesque tortured shapes. Classic babysitter gone wrong. Nicole's stressed out penny pitching energy from the responsible practically screams corner-cutting childcare. And get this, fans crunch the numbers. He appears in 70% of episodes where Nicole's yelling at the kids. Revenge served with a red nose. But the darkest theory says he's not from the show at all. He's a parasite, feeding on the audience's attention. Once you notice him, you can't stop looking. He doesn't hunt Gumball or Darwin, he haunts you. Maybe that's the real horror. He's not from Elmore alone. He exists between them and us. So after all that, what do we make of him? Is he a joke that got out of hand? A glitch? A ghost in the code? Maybe he's something the animators never meant to create, but once he appeared, they couldn't make him go away. Because that's the thing about this clown. He doesn't feel random. His appearances are too deliberate, too precise. He shows up when the world is breaking, when things feel off. He's not chaos. He's the calm that shouldn't exist within it. And maybe that's the point. Maybe he's not from Elmore at all. Maybe he came from outside the story. A stray thought, a background mistake that somehow realized it could be seen. And once we saw him, he became real. Because that's how things like this work. Attention gives them power. The moment you noticed him, he noticed you back. Now he's everywhere, standing quietly in the corner of your memory. So go ahead, watch Gumball again. Look closely. You'll spot him in the background, in the window, maybe even in a reflection. But remember this, once you see him, you can't unsee him. And if he's watching you now, don't turn around. And that's the story of Gumball's creepiest mystery finally solved. Or maybe not. If you enjoyed falling down this rabbit hole with me, drop a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into cartoon darkness. Have you seen the clown yourself? Or do you think he's something the show never meant for us to notice? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, stay curious, stay safe. See you next time.